What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Injection of Inspiration, where every single Saturday right here on the show, I, Graham G.S. Matthews, give you your daily dose of motivational advice, helpful tips, etc., etc. And here today, as a college senior, literally 7 days out from graduating, which is just incredible to think about. It feels like just yesterday I was a freshman. My finals have since come and gone, but for a lot of people, they have still yet to come. Whether you're in high school, college, you might have already had them, and even if so, if you're a freshman, junior, sophomore, or whatever, even a senior in high school, you can still apply this to future final seasons coming up. Not even final exams at the end of the year. It could be midterms. It could be really any test that you take in college, in school, and even if you've been in school and you're not currently in school, you might be able to relate to this as well. And literally something I just dealt with 3 days ago that I felt like I wanted to rant on and elaborate on for today's video. That being, again, finals. For a lot of people, bottom line, people freak the fuck out. They make a big deal about it. And finals are a big deal. I'm not telling you to take them any less seriously. I'm not telling you they don't matter. But what a lot of people do is that they get this idea in their mind that they're the be-all, end-all. They're not. Finals are huge. Again, I'm not saying take them lightly. I'm not saying don't study. That'd be a dumb fucking thing to do or not to do, whatever. What I'm telling you is that you shouldn't let it, take over you, I guess, for lack of a better term. Really let it take over your mentality, your mindset. I've heard horror stories in my 4 years of college of people not sleeping, staying up all night working on papers and projects and tests. Spend a little fucking time. A little time each day goes a long way in getting better, familiarized with the material for the test, project, whatever. If you wait until the last minute, like we all do, I do, of course you're going to fucking procrastinate, but don't complain the next day, oh man, I was up all night studying for this test. Oh man, I was up all night writing this fucking paper. Well, that's on you. I've seen people write paper. Literally, I know someone that stayed up all night a couple of weeks ago to work on a paper, and they wore it as a badge of honor that they did that. It's like, that's not a fucking badge of honor that you got zero sleep. That is incredibly harmful to your health. For a one-time thing, maybe, but even then, I can't say I've ever done that. The only time I've ever stayed up, and I talked about this in the sleep video not long ago, the only time I've ever stayed up for a close to 24 hours, maybe 23 hours, I don't know if it was a full 24, was, coincidentally enough, my graduation day in high school. After I graduated, I went to this all-night thing. I was trying to leave, but you can't leave. They keep you at the school. It's called Project Graduation. Other schools I know have it as well. And I couldn't leave until literally 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was just atrocious. But getting back to the topic at hand here, don't fucking do that. You only really have yourself to blame. And what really pissed me off, taking my last ever final, ever, my final college final, I guess, for lack of a better term, on Wednesday, something that really pissed me off, it was a test. So for the 4 finals that I had this semester, easily the easiest year that I've had in terms of as far as finals go, I had 2 presentations, or no, I was going to have a presentation. I had a presentation, a paper to hand in, / another presentation, a test, and then a final portfolio / paper, which wasn't a big deal at all because it was creative writing. For the test, which was the final college final I ever took on Wednesday, literally for the first 10 minutes of the final, I'm trying to sit there focusing on what I'm trying to do, figure out what I'm going to fucking fill in, all this other shit. And I'm not the smartest person in the world, far from it actually, especially academically. But people are like, oh, what does this mean? What does that mean? If you want clarification on a question, that's one thing. But if you're constantly bothering the fucking teacher to try to get an answer out of him, one dumbass bitch went up to the teacher halfway during the final and was like, can you tell me how many of these are right compared to how many of these are wrong so I can just kind of leave? It's like, bitch, fuck you. Leave the guy alone. This guy was not as stern of a teacher as many others are. The ideal teacher that would be just like, fuck you, take a seat. I'm not going to give you any answers. This guy kind of helped her out a bit. It just pissed me off. And I handed him my thing. I just kind of left him whatever. Just fuck it. It's my last final ever. It's, I guess, kind of a fitting way to end my this era of my college career in terms of finals. just in terms of people complaining. Just complaining is the first thing that people do. And again, I've talked about it ad nauseum, so I hate to sound like a broken record, but if there's something that you can do about it, if there's something that you can change, then fucking do it. And if there's nothing that you can change, if there's nothing you can change about it, then fucking deal with it. Don't complain about it. Complaining literally helps no one. And if anything, not only helps your own mental health, it's going to piss off the people around you, myself included. You know, if you're fucking complaining about a hard test, there's too much work to do, the paper's too long, the test is too hard, there's too much material to study. Well, you know what, buddy? Fuck you. That's the nature of the beast. That's fucking school. That's high school. That's college. That's any test you're ever going to take. Fucking study. And just because you study longer doesn't mean you're going to get a better grade on the test. I've known people that studied for hours on it. There's been tests I studied for and literally got fucking for hours on and did very, very poorly on because I didn't understand the material. If you don't understand the fucking material, you're not going to do well. That's the first and foremost thing. It doesn't matter if you studied for an hour and 37 minutes or 5 hours and 3 minutes. If you don't get what the fuck you're studying or what you're about to take a test on, then you're going to fucking fail. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So there's been tests I didn't study for at all and did really well on. There's been tests I studied for a long time on and did really well on. So it goes both ways. There's not a set in stone formula. You know, it kind of goes both ways in terms of whatever works for you. And there is no blueprint to what is life really, to your college career, to your high school career. Just do what works for you, and you will find out what works for you in your many years in being a student. For as long as it may last, however long it lasts, doesn't really matter. It's kind of irrelevant. If you're not in school, you didn't go to college, again, it doesn't fucking matter. You don't have to go to college to be a smart person, to be a wise person, to be a good person to be a good person above all else. But again, when it comes to finals, just do the fucking studying. Stop complaining. Just fucking do it. And don't worry about it. The more worrying you do about it, and I was just talking to Jason about this a couple of days ago. He put up a great video on his channel at Blue Eye Disorder right here on YouTube. Check out his video. Subscribe first and foremost. But he was just talking about this on Tuesday. Overanalyzing. Don't fucking overanalyze over anything. Don't worry about it. I mean, worry about it. Again, I'm not saying don't take it lightly, and you should care, but there's a big difference between worrying and caring. Like, I'm not going to sit here crying my eyes out knowing I have a final tomorrow. I care about it, but I'm not going to worry about it because I know I have a good grasp on it, and if I don't, then fuck me, I didn't study. Like, that's my own fault. That's nobody else's fault. It's not the teacher's fault. That's not the person I was going to study with's fault. It doesn't fucking matter. You got to blame yourself. You got to take responsibility for your actions or lack of actions. That's the way that life works, especially when it comes to finals. Again, stress is just the key word here, which I know I've talked about before. I'm pretty sure I did some other video on it, and by this point, well over 20 installments into Injection of Inspiration, I feel like I've kind of hit every topic home 5 times. But that being said, I feel like I've kind of touched upon things at least 10 times in my many weeks in doing this show here for YouTube. But don't let the stress get to you. Try not to be stressed out. I know people have anxiety issues and stuff like that, and that's fine. I mean, we all do to a certain extent. But you can't let that dictate who you are. Can't let that dictate who you are, how you study, how you approach things. I kind of sort of feel a rush from being busy and stuff like that. That's why I'm as busy as I am. I like to take up certain tasks. You can't, put too many things on your plate at one time because that's just overkill. But to be busy is a good thing. To be productive is a great thing. So stay productive. Keep studying. Finals are super fucking important. Don't take them lightly. But at the same time, don't stress out about it. Don't complain about it. Again, you sitting here complaining about what final you have in 2 days at 8 a.m. in the morning isn't going to fucking change anything. If you want to vent to someone, again, there's a big difference between venting to people and ranting. Or not ranting. That's what I'm doing right now. And complaining. Don't fucking complain. I mean, I might sound like a broken record / hypocritical that I'm kind of quote-unquote complaining, but I'm trying to also give you advice in terms of how to not deal with this shit, in terms of how to avoid this shit in the future. So whether you're, a lot of colleges have already had their finals and shit in the last couple of years, or the last couple of weeks, days, whatever. If you're in high school, you got that shit coming up in late June, mid-June, early June, depending on where you go to school, whatever. So I wish you the best of luck in whatever you're doing. Again, high school, college, doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. It's all super important. Just focus on you. Don't go by any other formula that works for anyone else. Just worry about yourself. Again, staying up all night to study for a fucking test is not worth it, because you'll wake up the next morning feeling like shit, and it's not going to be worth it when you do poorly on the test anyway. So that's a big old fuck you, and you'll learn that shit in time. Again, you got to go through the bad stuff to learn the good stuff. The most valuable lessons in life are learned through experiences like this. So keep that in mind during these turbulent times that are finals. And maybe next week, on my graduation day, no less, I'll talk about my college career in a nutshell and why it is indefinitely, undoubtedly, undisputed better than high school. College just doesn't even come close. And I know some people will argue that high school does have some advantages over college, but I very much disagree, and I'll talk about that next week and what, the many things I've learned here in my 4 years as a college student, as well as saying goodbye to certain people I probably will never see again. So we'll talk about that next week right here on Injection of Inspiration. That being said, be sure to drop a like on the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video. All that stuff is amazingly appreciated. Above all else, enjoy Mother's Day weekend. I know Mother's Day is tomorrow as I'm recording this, so if you got a mother out there, enjoy the day with her, or thinking about her, what have you. Just have an awesome Sunday regardless. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. I'll catch you guys next Saturday. And more importantly, I'll catch your ass down the road.